Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today, talking about Doctor Who, we're going to discuss who is your favorite Doctor from the modern series. This is a tricky one. I thought of this because I think a lot of my subscribers are classic Who fans, people who really grew up with the classic series, some of which also like the modern series, some of them that like parts of the modern series, not others, etc., etc., etc. So it got me wondering. I'm curious, especially these subscribers of mine who are very much classic Who fans, more so than they are the modern series, or even the ones that prefer the classic series. It's where, their favorite Doctors tend to be classic Doctors. I was curious who their favorite modern series Doctor is and why. Figured I'd make a few of them put on their thinking caps, It's really actually hard for me. I just ranked the Doctors on my Patreon recently for my patrons. The last video of that actually is up now. All 5 videos of that are up because I made it a video series. And I know which one was the highest from the modern series, and even thinking about that, I'm like, is he the? It's really hard. I know immediately it's not Tennant. It was for a long time, but it's not Tennant. It's not Whittaker. That's not even in the cards. It's really hard to pick between Capaldi, Eccleston, and Smith. I really like all 3, even though on my ranking list, the top one there's a bit of a gap between him and the other 2, but they're all good Doctors in their own way. A lot of it's more, are they my kind of Doctor? Like, take Capaldi. Capaldi's a very good Doctor, but I don't really like that more serious Hartnell style Doctor. Well, Hartnell's also not one of my favorite Doctors, or Colin Baker. They have that very serious Doctor attitude I don't care for as much. Really, the only one that gets away with that with me is Pertwee. I love Pertwee a lot. I tend to prefer the more Troughton, Baker, Tennant, Smith Doctors. Eccleston is really good. I just wish we had more of him. I love Series 1, and he's so amazing in it. But I think for me, at least at the moment, because my lists are so fluid, it's probably Matt Smith, but it's really more Series 5 Matt Smith. I like all of Matt Smith. He's always good as the Doctor, but sometimes he does get a little exaggerated, a little caricaturish, a little cartoonish at times. I really love 11th Hour Matt Smith, and he's a lot like that in, say, Beast Below and Victory of the Daleks. He's got that good balance of being funny while being angry. I love in Beast Below when he snaps at him about, "Nobody human has anything to say to me today." And then in Victory of the Daleks, when he's sitting there beating that Dalek with that pipe or wrench or whatever. I love that. I love in the 11th Hour when he does his basically run. I love that, but he's not like that all the time throughout his run. Series 5, he's really got that fire in him, and he has it even in later stuff. Like, I love in A Good Man Goes to War. He's dangerous and deadly in A Good Man Goes to War. I like that little speech about, I want you to tell them to run away. I want them to call you Captain Runaway. I love that. That whole little spill there is good, and he has them throughout his run. But there are times where he's so silly. It's almost mimish. Caricaturish when he's over. Can't you talk without flapping your hands around? Yes. No. He's a little too silly at times. I really wish he had been more like he was in the 11th Hour for more of his run. I like the other stuff in and of itself, but sometimes he feels like 2 different Doctors with the way he is in Series 5 and the way he is later. I like him. I think Matt Smith's a good actor. I think he's really great in this part. I love his outfits. He definitely has moments that amuses me, and other moments where he very much has that moment of the young child in an adult's body, and then he definitely has those moments of this is a very old man in a very young man's body. Smith does both of those really well. I just really wish he'd had that more of an edge to him like he had in 11th Hour. I love 11th Hour. I really loved that Doctor. I was really on board with him after the 11th Hour. I mean, I know that he had big shoes to fill replacing Tennant. Especially because I was a huge Tennant fan. Tennant was my number 2 Doctor for a long time. Up until maybe last year. I mean, he was my solid number 2. Nobody else was close. And so Smith had to come in and step into those shoes, and he does a great job of it. I was really on board with him by the end of the 11th Hour. So much so, when I was watching The Beast Below, I was having a good time. I wasn't having to adjust to him anymore. I just kind of wish he'd been more like those initial episodes throughout his run. But he's still really good. The modern series has had some great Doctors. Even Tennant, I think, is a good Doctor. I think the only reason Tennant ranks lower on my list now is I watched so much of his era at the time, back in the mid-2000s through probably the mid-2010s. I watched seasons 2, 3, and 4 like so many times that I don't go back and watch them a lot now. So I haven't actually watched a Tennant story, aside from maybe Day of the Doctor over a year ago now. I haven't watched one of his stories in a long, long time. That he's less recent in my memory, so he's just kind of fallen down the list. Plus, other people's criticisms that I hear do make sense about him being too human. God, I hate his man that never would speech. I'm sitting here watching The Dominators, and I'm watching what the Doctor does at the Dominators with the bomb, and I'm sitting here like, a man that never would, eh? I hate that man that never would speech. Tennant is a little pretentious sometimes, and a little narcissistic too, let's be honest. And I think seeing these flaws of character, actually being able to see them, kind of hurts him in my eyes. Though, like I said, if I went back and watched like half a dozen of his episodes, I might be like, Tennant! I mean, I don't know. I need to do that at some point, because he does have a lot of really good episodes. But yeah, for me, I think it would be the 11th Doctor, the Matt Smith. I think at this moment, at least, it kind of jumps around, but for the moment, I would say Matt Smith. So let me know who you think your favorite Doctor is of the modern era and why you feel the way you do. I'm always interested to hear what you guys think. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button. The channel's been growing. It hasn't been that long since we crossed the 500 mark, and we've already crossed the 550 mark. So thank you to every single one of you that has subscribed. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on a new video. I also have a Patreon. If you really like what I do and would like to support what I do and help me import these wonderful collection sets and these steelbooks, since I do live in the States, I would really appreciate that. There's a link to that down in the description below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month, if that interests you. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.